Are you ready?
I'm
Are
ready.
you steady?
Which one are you going for?
I'm going for that one.
Which one?
That one.
That one.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Welcome to Friday with me, Charlie Murray, and not Sam Turton for the first podcast of 2026. He's off in Amsterdam doing things that we won't ask or nor talk about. But instead of Sam, I have Juan. I've got the big bad boss with me.
Well, I don't know about that. I've got a few questions for you before we start. Are you sponsored by somebody here? Because we've got the hat on.
Yeah.
We've got this logo across your chest. You know, there's not some sort of backhanding deal going on here that I don't know about.
Oh, I've got a deal with Shuffle and Porch going on.
Well, you never know with you, do you?
No, I don't. I can promise.
So go on, what's with the hat?
I like collecting caps with car brands on.
No, it's not. When you walked in, you said, I've got greasy hair, so I've got to leave that on. I just thought I'd blow you up at the start of the show.
No, my hair is so greasy. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I was hoping I was going to have time for a shower before we came and recorded this.
Should we not see Charlie Murray in her raw form? Sounds a bit odd, actually.
Look, I don't think no one needs to see that. That's not what they're here for. They're here for us. Well, I suppose they're here for us. They're here to listen to us rant, spout shit.
And upset somebody.
Basically, yeah. Someone's got to do it.
Absolutely. So it's the new year. None of this new year, new us bollocks.
No, new year.
I'm afraid it's more of the same.
Same us. If not, more of us.
Oh, it's not the best advert, is it?
So look, at the end of the day, if everything was going fine and it was all smooth sailing, we wouldn't have anything to slag off, would we?
No. And, a lot of these shows, when they start, they do all the, how was your Christmas and all that bollock. We forgot about that now. We're not going to go bother with that to start the show, are we?
No, it seems like a long time ago.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, over it. We're now back in the trenches of work. We're back to it. So
really,
here we are.
Here we are.
Should we hit the intro?
Oh, right. Oh, have we going to put the intro in now?
Well, that's what we normally do.
I suppose so, yeah. Go on then. Hit the intro.
Welcome to Friday with me, Charlie Murray, and Juan Turner, who's going to sit in the hot seat instead of Sam Turton this week.
Yes, where is he anyway? Why is he not here?
Sam's in Amsterdam. I actually don't know how long he's gone
God.
for. I'm not sure of the itinerary, but I do know that he got a ferry there.
A ferry there?
Yes, I'm
Why?
sure he did. He'll probably listen to this and go, "Are you talking shit?" No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But I think he got a ferry from Newcastle to Amsterdam. Is that possible?
From Newcastle?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
Let's
I
try
don't
and
know.
look. Newcastle to Amsterdam ferries. I'm sure he said something.
You can fast forward this bit while we look it up, listener.
Yeah, there is. There's a Newcastle to Amsterdam ferry.
Right.
That's what he got.
Okay.
He said he was getting it because he likes ferries.
Right.
And he was interested to have a look at it. So that's where
Right.
Sam is this week.
Is he really? Does he like ferries? Does he like trains?
You know this.
I know he does.
You're well aware of
I was
this.
going to admit something really sad, but I don't think I will.
Go on.
No, I was we're off on a tangent already. The West Coast Main Line is being rerouted via the Carlisle to Settle line. And the Avanti West Coast service is going up that line that it normally doesn't go on. And apparently train fans, including JP, are very excited about this. And I was thinking of going and doing it, but it's only running for the next 2 weeks.
You know when Sam talks about football?
Yeah, I could see that
the
glazed.
same when you
glazed
talk
look.
about trains.
I don't really know anything about trains, but they're quite good fun to travel on.
I don't. I'm
Anyway,
not
let's
a train
forget
fan.
that. So he's gone. So he's off in Amsterdam.
He's not here. He's not our problem.
No.
I've been left basically manning the ship, which is always a bit of a stressful position
Right.
for me to be in.
Yeah.
Because we know when I'm generally left unattended, I end up upsetting someone.
Now, you've got off to a good start this year, haven't you? Are we going to start with that? Are we going to save that to later on?
I haven't got up to anything.
If there wasn't issues with copyright, we could dub over a bit of Judy What's-Her-Face with Send in the Clowns. But, we'd have to pay some fees for that, so we probably won't bother, will we?
No. Well, you've mentioned it now. We may as well go into it. Basically, this week, first week back in office, so to speak, the DOI minister has come out saying basically that clowns will be banned from her socials. So she said she'll delete or hide any abusive comments made on her own social media platforms in her warning to people. Dr. Hayward explained that she's happy to discuss any matters in a calm and respectful way. However, she suggested that people should try constructing a well-argued opinion instead, and will happily debate topics, explain decisions, or go away and find information. Stop it. However, she warned that if people make allegations about ulterior motives, cast aspirations on her character, post clown emojis, or disparage her in any way, then she will hide or turn off comments on that post. She added, if you want to go be abusive, do it on your own page. I'm fine with critical comment, but abuse for the sake of abuse is not okay. So what I would like to start with here, I do agree that on social media, people can be really nasty and really horrible. And
We
like,
know.
Yeah.
We've got some fans of this show.
Yeah.
Fans.
I'm well aware that like people take it too far and they're really horrible. But equally, you know, I think within all of our jobs, especially you and I and Sam, we are public facing from the media and we don't help ourselves at times. So yeah, of course, we're never going to please everyone and some people are always going to come at us. And equally for politicians who are paid really bloody well to be in those positions and are the ones that have control and make decisions, you're putting yourself in the firing line. You've sort of got to be prepared for it. Am I saying it's okay to be abusive? No.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't think putting a big post up explaining it really, is it needed?
No, it's quite self-indulgent, to be honest. And I think there's a difference, isn't there? Because obviously I've been in the world of politics. It's a very grubby industry where I can remember one of the politicians saying to me, nobody in here is your friend. You know, they'll be all over you 1 minute because it'll be a motion you're voting on that you're going to help them with. The next minute it'll be something that they're against and they'll be stabbing you in the face. There's a big difference, isn't there, between threatening as in proper threatening, you know, violence, fear and all that lot, and abuse where somebody just says, you're shit at your job. Well, some people might say that about us. We've had that. You've had people writing to you, haven't you, about stories you've written. You know, I've sent you a few memos. But no, seriously, and you just take that because what they mean is they don't like what you've written. It doesn't necessarily mean you're shit at your job. But politicians, I'm afraid, are fair game for some serious criticism.
They are.
And people, I think, are allowed to get angry.
I think people should get angry because at the end of the day, these politicians are making decisions that impact people's lives, their livelihoods, everything. You know, like everything that you do generally has had to go through some political system. And if that isn't working for a lot of people or things are happening that people haven't asked for and the people that voted you in and are paying your wages, you have to listen to them.
Yeah, and their decisions can not just affect people's lives, they can ruin people's lives.
Absolutely, they can.
And ruin their businesses, their livelihoods, they could lose their homes. And I'm afraid when you're a politician in that position, you should not be immune to some serious criticism. Now, there was that, you know, there's been obviously some very high profile cases over the years with the likes of where MPs have been killed. That clearly is a very extreme. Thankfully, it's rare. No one's advocating people should make threats against politicians.
No.
But I don't think people should be prevented from criticising them or even calling them names because, you know, we all get called names, so what? But, you know, you've got to grow a backbone. But I think sometimes some of this bleating that goes on dilutes real abuse because they're getting a bit of criticism they just don't like.
Yeah.
And, you know,
fair.
Politicians are always going to be called clowns and all the rest of it.
It's the most hated job. It is. Like,
Well, I could think of a few others, you know.
But it is one of the most hated professions. Like, because you're never going to please anyone.
And it shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't. But I think your elected members should be there to they're there to listen to people and do what people want. They're not there on personal agendas or anything like that. Or shouldn't be. But
No.
they're there to listen to the people who voted them in. You're a public representative at the end of the day, and that's your job.
Well, I think the problem with our Michelle is that it's the arrogance that comes out from her, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because they go on, and what really gets me about politicians is when they come round knocking on your door and they tell you they're going to work for you and do things for you. And then the thing that really pisses me off, and I saw it when I was in there, they go, oh, well, we can't do that because that's just populist. Well, yeah, that's what you're there to do. You're there to represent the masses. But then they go, oh no, you silly little people, you don't understand. We can't do that because of our international obligations and our this and our that. And, oh, well, that's no longer acceptable. You know, because, I mean, you can guarantee politicians don't do as the public want, because if you were to hold a referendum on whether you should bring back hanging or, you know, the death penalty for, you know, extreme cases of child murder and all these other things that are going on, you can imagine what the public will say. Bring it back.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
let's you know, where they're going to set up the noose. And that's the problem they've got, you see. They never actually do follow what the public want.
And I think something that'd probably be fair to say is that Dr. Hayward is not alone in maybe being portrayed as not listening to the public. She certainly isn't the only one in there that has gone in and done the exact opposite of what they've... Look, I'm not even saying she's done the opposite of what she said she was going to do, because she wasn't my MHK, or she isn't my MHK. I didn't look at her manifesto, wasn't interested, so I actually can't sit here and go, has she done the opposite of what she was going to do? But within her position, there's so many others that have gone in there and then they've gone and they've changed their mind. Actually, they're not listening to anyone and doing what they want.
I know, and that, I think, is when people get angry.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I would hope in the Isle of Man we don't have cases where there are threats of violence
God,
against.
no.
Yeah, but I think there's nuances, isn't there? It's a bit like where people go, they should be shot. Well, there was that comment, if you remember, and she then took it to the extreme. Oh, you know, that's not what people mean. It's like, you know, they need shooting. People don't physically mean that. But we've got to a stage now with social media,
You can't say.
where once you've put it into print, who knows what the context behind that is. It's very difficult, isn't it? And I think that's why we've now seen almost like the wheels fall off society, really, with this. And particularly as there's been cases where, you know, we had the terrible David Amos, the MP who got stabbed, you know. So there are nutters out there, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I think what's happening is some politicians are using those cases as a way of shutting down anybody who dares complain about them. I think that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, and I actually saw a comment yesterday regarding all of this. And one of them said, oh, well, women that are MHKs or politicians tend to get much more flack than men.
That.
And I thought, I actually disagree with that, because I would have said out of this whole administration, Alpha's had a hammering. Like, even on certain things that haven't involved him, like,
Yes.
directly, he's getting the blame for it. And yes, he's chief. But, like, I actually don't think this comes down to being female or male or anything like that. Maybe I'm just a bit naive and think, does anyone actually care? Like, if you're a male or a female in the job? Probably some people still do. But I don't think over here we have this thing that female MHKs are targeted more than males.
No, I think it's a complete load of nonsense. I saw that comment. It was going on about misogyny. They go to misogyny and all the rest of it. I'm sorry. Some of the female MHKs, the likes of Michelle in the DOI, have been criticised because of their behaviour in the job.
Yeah, no,
and on their
absolutely.
record.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with whether she's male or female.
No,
Absolutely
not at all.
nothing. And I get a bit sick and tired of this nonsense. And I've said on these podcasts, haven't I? One of the greatest politicians ever was Margaret Thatcher. That'll upset a few people today, no doubt. But, you know, the Iron Lady, you know, Michelle and all these others that are whining and whinging on Facebook, they need to take a look at how Margaret dealt with the media. There's some good stuff on YouTube when David Frost tried to take one out of her, and she turned around and he got a handbagging live on TVAM.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that's very clear to see is that even if it was a man who was DOI minister at the minute and they were doing the exact same job, saying the exact same things, everyone would still be saying or posting the clown emojis.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
It would still be happening.
Of course it would.
So that's happened. I'm going to stick with the DOI just for a minute. So obviously over the past week or so, we've had can I call it Iceageddon?
Well, it wasn't really, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, so we've had
We had a
the
couple of
airport
snowflakes.
shut. We've had a bit of a not a travel disaster, but it's been a bit of a nightmare, hasn't it?
Bit of
over the past-
upheaval.
Yes, and the mountain road is well, as of today, it's still closed. I'm hoping it'll be open by the time this actually goes out. But I can't. Can you understand why that mountain's still shut? Because
I know the mountain road is a big thing of yours, and just remind me, airport, we'll come back to that because I want to talk about that. But mountain road, yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder, you know, is Woodhead Pass open? Is Snake Pass open? I don't know, but it's a major route. And I think now that there's an attitude within the DOI and the police, well, we can just shut the mountain and sod everyone else. They'll have to go around the other way. And I know the traffic from Onken was backed up past the fun farm the other morning, and it was an hour to get through Onken. Now, okay, you could say first world problems and all the rest of it, but that's fine. But it's not necessary.
And that's the problem. It isn't necessary because, you know, well, for A, let's go and actually look at the coast road, that route itself in the ice. It is treacherous when it hits the east of the island. That side gets it really bad and you're constantly on hills. It's constantly sharp bends. Like, it is not a fun road to drive in the ice whatsoever. The mountain, we have... Now, you can feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, but do we not have all the correct equipment to be able to clear snow?
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I think the problem is it's not just the snow, it's the ice that then forms after the snow.
Right, now riddle me this, because this is what I can't get my head around. How are we able to keep roads open that are in the Alps that are constantly iced over? And how are we able to keep roads open that are in Scotland along mountains that are also equally iced over? Is that due to the maintenance that they do and they're constantly on top of it, gritting it?
Well, no.
Or what is it?
Well, it's due to the fact that the Isle of Man police and the DOI aren't responsible for them. They've got people who know what they're doing. Now, I'm not talking about the guys on the tools.
No, because
they're not allowed.
I saw something
They're
about
told what
this
to
the
do.
other day, and it equally annoyed me when someone was there on Facebook slagging off the workers, and I was like, no, don't start slagging off the frontline staff. They are not your problem. Your problem isn't the guys that are on the tools, the same as the hospital. Your problem isn't the nurses and the doctors that are there. Your problem with this, it always goes above them. It's the management. That is where all these decisions are made, and these are the guys that are doing the cock-ups.
The guys, it's a bit like flooding, isn't it? You know, when we get flooding and drains are blocked and culverts are blocked. The problem is the guys at the front end could probably tell you where every culvert is, every drain is, every flash point is, but they're not. They're assigned the work by those higher up the food chain. The whole thing needs flipping on its head.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Because when they used to have the parish gangs in the what was the Highway Board, then it was the DHPP and Department of Transport. Those guys knew where everything was in their zone, and they'd go round, they'd keep all the ditches cleared, they'd keep the culverts clear, the drains, the lot. Now they're all deployed to things. It's just turned to shit. If you let those workers take some responsibility and take charge of these things, we'd have far less problems. That's my view, because they're the people that know where everything is. They're the guys on the ground at the coalface.
Of course they are. But yeah, the mountain's still being closed. It just angers me. Like the amount of time that road has been closed with no thought for businesses or residents, no thought for anyone about the cost impact that shuts. And I appreciate, like, to people sat in offices that don't live in the north of the island or don't have to drive anywhere really for their job, no, it doesn't make a difference to them. But to wagons that are going over the mountain, makes a hell of a difference. Delivery drivers, it makes a hell of a difference. Your average person who may live in the north of the island and have to use that mountain every day to get to work in Douglas, it makes a hell of a difference. Not just time, but money, fuel, all of it adds up. And you just sit there and, like, God, I'm not even going to get started on the guys at Victory Cafe, because it's just ridiculous having that road shut every 2 seconds.
Well, no wonder they've given up for most of the week.
I can't blame them.
I mean, you know, I know Ben and his family really well, but I still think the fact that they've had to take a business decision that it's not worth opening should be sending alarm bells through the Manx government, thinking, what's going on here? That shows you that we're sort of on our arse.
We are on our
If a
arse,
prime
yeah.
place like that can't make it work,
Yep.
they should be saying, hang on, what's going on? And I mean, they had a lot of frustration over that road being closed. And, you know, we all share that. And you can't run a business, but of course, they will have got a massive rates and rent reduction, wouldn't they? Oh, probably not, because that's not how the government works.
But yeah, that's that about the mountain road. But this one I think will interest you. And this is the last one before we're going to take a break. Questions raised on airport operating hours and disruptions.
Right, so it'll be a while before we're taking a break then, because have we been on since the airport steps saga?
Yes.
We have. I don't remember
No.
being on this podcast having a good rant about that, which is why I was asking the question.
I think we have.
Right. Can we rewind to that first? Because you mentioned the airport. And
Right, basically, what, you want to go to the steps first?
I want to. Well, we can go to the steps in a minute.
Okay, so can I
If it's
can I
not too
carry on
windy.
this?
Yeah, you've gone.
It's
You'll
not
do
too
that first.
windy. Basically, Kate Lord-Brennan's popped in a written question asking the DOI minister to detail daily airport break and closure periods as scrutiny grows over the flight disruptions and operating limits, which we are all aware of, and many of us have fallen victim to. So the question seeks clarity on the underlying reasons for these interruptions, asking whether they stem from industrial action, employment terms and conditions, regulatory requirements or other operational considerations. Dr. Michelle Hayward has also been asked to identify the longest uninterrupted period between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. during which flights are able to both depart and arrive. In addition, the question calls for a comparison of this uninterrupted operating window with those at other airports. And we should have that question answered by the 20th of January.
Well, there's a thing about politics, isn't there? I suspect Kate already knows the answer,
I
because
very
they
much
always
suspect
said
she
they
does
always
too.
say in politics, you never put down a question
You don't know the
unless
answer
you
to.
know the answer or
Yeah.
have a good idea what it is. So there's obviously I smile when I see that, because I think she knows quite well what she's trying to do is get to see if they're
Flesh
going
it
to tell
out.
the truth
Yeah, absolutely.
and get it out on the record, and good on her. That's exactly what they should be doing. But
Wait,
you're right.
Is this a female MHK that we're being nice about?
Well, yeah.
Who would have thought?
Well, exactly, because you know it's about ability,
That's
and I know
brilliant.
there'll be the cynics who'll go, "Oh, it's an election year. She's come out of the woodwork." Well, no, some of these people have never gone into the woodwork.
Yeah, yeah.
And Kate is one of them that's always been very astute in asking
Yep.
questions, as we know. We've been interviewing her over the years, but yeah, Ronaldsway Airport is an absolute shambles. And I mean, where do you start with it? I said years ago they should get rid of air traffic control and contract it to National Air Traffic Services, who are a proper professional body that run air traffic control. They run the whole of the upper, whatever it's
They
called.
run the skies.
They run the skies. Yeah, that's it, the skies. They run Heathrow Tower. They run Edinburgh. They run Gatwick. And they say, oh, well, they're big airports. Yeah, but they also run Gibraltar. I think they run Shetland. And London City, which they actually run from nowhere near London City.
But
Did you know that? It's
no,
a remote control.
I didn't. But what I find just hilarious, and I don't want to spend too long on the airport because we all know it's a shit show, is the fact that we're trying to claim that the island can be this business hub. It can be this tourism hub. It can be all of these things. And now, Juan, answer me this. What do both of those things heavily rely on to be successful?
Well, you know, the DOI. Flippant remark, but actually I'm deadly serious.
No, I know.
They manage our infrastructure. And if we haven't got functioning gateways...
It's the connectivity.
Yeah.
And if we have got failing connectivity, quite frankly, what is the point?
If you compare us to the likes of Jersey, and I'm just getting up the current Jersey arrivals.
But
as
I
we're-
think
as
what's
we're here
also
doing
important
that.
is often the airport staff, again, the guys on the front line that you see every day, they're not the problem. But sometimes they end up getting the stick.
Well, they don't really have frontline staff now at the airport, do they?
No, but you know as well as I do, like, I suppose they're not they're not airport employees, are they? They're airline employees.
They're
I'm
contractors,
assuming.
yeah,
contracts in.
to the
But
airline.
they end up getting the shit end of the stick, as do the baggage handling staff and everyone like that. They all end up getting the crap when actually it's the people above them that are making the decisions.
Yeah, that's right. And there's also another thing, because they haven't got the frequency of routes, then those handling agents won't have sufficient staff, because otherwise they're going to have loads of people stood around doing nothing, and the cost of that is going to be prohibitive. So you're in that chicken and egg. But if you look at the likes of Jersey here, for example, this morning they had 2 arrivals from Guernsey, followed by, that was Loganair and Aurigny. Then they had 2 arrivals from BA, one from Gatwick, one from Heathrow. Then they had an arrival from Southampton, another one from Guernsey. Then we had EasyJet from Gatwick, so that's the third London arrival before lunchtime. They had another Heathrow from BA in the afternoon, and so it goes on. Gatwick, Heathrow, Southampton.
We've now got a Southampton line now, June. We do have that.
Yeah, but it's something like once every 3 full moons in Tuesday.
So it's like every Saturday for a minimum of £100 one way. And then I think go to the end of March and see what happens, basically. Yeah, it's not cheap. And on that note, do you want to take a break?
Well, we're going to talk about the steps.
God. Do we have to?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going
Before the break or after the break?
Oh, we'll do it now because I'll get it off my chest.
Basically,
I'll have the breast.
It was a Liverpool flight, wasn't it? Or was it a Manchester flight?
And it was coming in from somewhere. It doesn't really matter where it's coming in from. Yeah, it was coming in from Liverpool or Manchester. And suddenly that day it became too windy to operate the steps. Now, I think what annoyed me more was the people going on about, well, it's safety, oh, it's safety, put my face mask on, it's safety, wouldn't you like to, well, I'm sorry, nobody wants to be unsafe, but you can't tell me the only way of getting people off an aircraft was to fly them to another bloody country. That is a disgrace. They could have anchored those steps down perfectly safe with the tugs or whatever and got people off that aircraft. Absolute no problem-solving mentality whatsoever.
While we're talking about it, do you want me to give you the official line from Isle of Man Airport on it?
Yeah, go on.
Due to strong and gusting winds, aircraft steps could not be safely deployed on some flights in line with the established safety limits operated by the airport's ground handling provider, Menzies Aviation. These limits are in place to protect passengers while boarding and disembarking. The variable wind conditions meant that flights were affected differently. As a result, some services were cancelled or diverted, and in one case an aircraft landed safely but passengers were unable to disembark and the aircraft subsequently returned to the departure airport. Geoffrey Pugh, interim airport director, hasn't he been interim for a while now? But anyway, said, "We sincerely apologise for the inconvenience caused to passengers as a result of Sunday's high winds. These were unusual circumstances and safety must always come first. While these measures are necessary to protect everyone at the airport, we understand the disruption this caused and appreciate the patience shown by those affected." I don't think there was any patience there from anyone. Everyone was a bit fucked off by it, weren't they? The airport continues to work closely with its service partners and operators to minimise disruption and ensure the highest standards of safety during adverse weather conditions. How windy was it?
Well, yeah, the Isle of Man has always been wind. We've always had wind. And what I don't understand is how suddenly on that day we couldn't get people off a plane.
Well, if there'd been a medical emergency.
Well, exactly. I'm afraid it's very easy to start waving this safety flag. I think somebody made an obstructive decision and they got so dug into it. The people were sat on the ground for 2 hours here in the Isle of Man.
Health and safety has gone nuts.
2 hours?
We all called that ages ago. It's
so
gone nuts.
If you're on the plane in 2 hours and then the only way to get everybody off is to then fire the engines back up on an Airbus and fly to another country, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. You're having some of the sweets.
Because you're
they
yabbering
were for the second half of the show.
Okay.
No, but seriously, they say, oh, well, this, that and the other, and what you wouldn't want injuries. Of course you wouldn't want injuries, but
there's no common sense anymore, Juan. Look, I actually find it remarkable that most people nowadays can wipe their own arses and don't need to ask permission to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's gone... You know what? For example, this ice and snow. You watch some people and you go, well, no shit, you crashed. Like, you were right up someone's ass. You didn't think about your stopping distances. You were going like a bell end. Like, use your brain. Or do you know what? If you're not confident driving in it, don't drive, or if you do, go steady.
Yeah,
Just
but don't
go
stop
so
the rest
slow.
of us from functioning.
No, or the other one is they come round, they panic, and they stop on a corner, and
Yeah.
you think, well, what did you expect to happen? So
But
yeah,
we've done that with society, though, haven't we? We've created now.
kids that must have their hands sanitised every 2
Well,
seconds.
it's not just kids; it's adults. And I think since COVID, what's happened now is they've created people who now think the state should run their lives, and it's like, oh, well, they've told us not to go out. And if you say, well, that's a load of bollocks, I want to go out. Well, that's irresponsible. This is safety. I'm sorry. Well, you know, the emergency services, to be totally blunt, that's their job.
Well, also, like, just if you're worried about it or don't want to put yourself in a position of harm's way, then just don't go out. Like,
Yeah.
no, when the weather's really bad, the last thing they want, and I get it, is someone driving around just going for a nose.
A lot of us need to function for various things.
Yeah, if you've got a function, you've got to get on with it, do. But just use some bloody common sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's all that we need to say on that one.
But they go on about the police and all that. Well, they're risking their lives for you. Well, no, they're not. They're paid for it. I'm sorry, but that's their job. You know, people like RNLI people are brave. They're volunteers. But like,
And Coast Guards.
And Coast Guards and all of these others. Now, that doesn't to decry the professionalism of people like who drive ambulances, firemen and all that. They're very professional people, highly trained. So are police officers. But let's not have all this sycophantic, oh, it's wonderful, they worked all over Christmas. Well, yeah, probably on enhanced pay.
Do farmers work on enhanced pay?
Exactly.
No, they're getting screwed left,
Lots
right,
of
and
people are working over Christmas. But the sycophantic nonsense.
Your care providers.
Yep.
Care homes.
And there's people going around looking after elderly people who might be on their own. You know, these are the unsung heroes of society, not the public sector who are on all their sort of, job for life terms and conditions. And what we've done, though, is we've conditioned the public since COVID now to be completely reliant on this public sector. And, oh, they've told us not to go out. Oh, you're irresponsible because you've gone out. It's ridiculous. Well, you've gone out, first of all. So what? You know, do we, we shouldn't need a fire service because people shouldn't be so irresponsible setting fire to their houses. You know, where do you draw the line?
I don't know, but I think we need to take a break, Juan.
We do need to take a break. Are we going to take a break?
We're taking a break.
There'll be no more celebrations for you in a minute. Welcome back to Welcome to Friday. And it's me, Juan Turner, and it's her, Charlie Murray, without Sam Turton. She's already been in these. These were only here for show. They weren't for digging into.
I've had the 2 Galaxies.
If you're listening on the podcast, it's quite warm. That I think there's a radiator under there. I'll put them down here. Anyway, just thinking of your figure, darling.
It's
not allowed to call you darling.
It's gone.
It'll upset some people.
Look, I couldn't care less. I've been called much worse. Right, Juan.
Yes, Charlie.
I've got a question for you.
Go on.
How many are in government's media teams?
Oh, are you? What you? I've seen this question. I'm just going to. I don't know why I was looking at my laptop there. Are we talking about across every department?
The Chief Minister has been asked to provide a detailed breakdown of staff employed in marketing, media, promotional and news-related roles across government.
Well, I'd say there's a substantial amount because
I think there is.
I mean, some of the departments have got endless marketing people.
So
I don't know what they all do all day.
No. Well, Onken MHK Julie Edge, who I would say is doing an absolutely sterling job at the minute.
Well, it's election year. That's what they'll be saying.
Look.
Julie always does.
I don't care what year it is, quite frankly.
Correct.
Because Julie is asking questions.
She's always asking questions.
But she's, very impressed with Julie at the minute. She requests information on staff numbers by job role and full-time equivalent within each government department, board, office and arm's length body. The Chief has until 19th of January to respond to that. So I think that'll be very interesting to hear actually what the answer is, how many there are.
Well, it's not just these sort of jobs, is it? I think what are frustrating people, because those sort of jobs and many others are not really, they're not delivering anything for the public. And I think that's what's really, really upsetting people.
And equally, you don't need 3 people to do one person's job.
No.
And I think that's what a lot of it comes down to. And look, yes, in these jobs you should be busy and it should be, but you shouldn't be sat around twiddling your thumbs or having to get someone else to help you with it or having to do this. Like, no, let's take out these layers of rubbish. You're there to do a job. You should be able to make a decision. You don't need to then go to your manager, who has to go to their manager, who has to go to their manager to then get it signed off for it, then to keep passing up and down a food chain. No, if you're in that job, you should be able to do your job and have a sound mind and conscience to know what you're doing. Enough about that. I'm going to... Oh, God, Julie's getting a few mentions this week. Tynwald to debate phased wage rise. This is going to be my my last heavy subject, I think, for today, because I could talk about committee calls for fundamental reform of public finances, but I'll wait to do that. That can come for another week. But basically, Julie Edge has got a motion calling for more measured approach to future minimum wage rises. It's set to be debated in Tynwald this month. Yeah, later this month. So we'll see what comes of that. But I don't think we need this phase. I just think we need to just can it.
Can I say I am completely and totally disinterested in this subject because they have shat on everybody. Well,
I agree.
They've not listened.
No.
They're not in the real world. They're not in touch with real businesses that are struggling out there. We've had all the arguments from the sort of the lefties who are all going about, oh, business owners, why would they not want to pay people properly and all the rest of it? Well, okay, let's have a 200% increase and complain. Well, why are you complaining? Whatever that is, what they're not seeing is how unrealistic the increase was and the effect it has. They're just not listening.
No, they're not listening. And I think
businesses don't want a phased increase. They didn't want the increase.
Nope.
It's like saying, well, we're going to cut your head off, but we'll do it in stages.
Yeah, no, basically. But I think the thing is, people need to realise that everything needs paying for. So while this may come as a shock to some people, and it's going to really upset them because they get very upset when you talk about wages and minimum wage, and look, like, I get it. But yeah, okay, your wage goes up. How's that getting paid for? Let's do it in really simple terms. How is that getting paid for?
There was a very interesting... can I be controversial?
Yeah.
There was a very interesting thing about taxpayers, and the only money that comes into the government is actually from the private sector.
Yes.
Because public sector workers are paid from the public sector, so they're only giving a bit of tax back from what they got anyway.
Yes.
So if you screw the private sector,
you don't have an economy.
You're
it's
in
very
deep
fucking
shit.
Simple. And I don't know why this is like, but that's what it all comes back to. Without a private sector that is healthy and functioning well, you have nothing. You have nothing. And the thing is, yes, okay, whack wages up, right? That whatever. How's that going to get paid for? Everything that you are paying or you are buying is going to go up in price. You're not going to be better off. But who's going to be better off?
well,
We all know the answer to this, and I'm bored of it. I am bored of it too. But equally, I just feel like smacking my head against a brick wall continuously, in the hope that someone may listen and change may happen, so we don't have a position where we see businesses going out and
well,
people
that's
being
the
unemployed.
worst. That's the worst part of this. Nobody wants to relish in it all going belly up and being able to say, well, we told you so.
No, we don't want that.
But
no one wants that.
I honestly look at some of these people, and some of them are just, it's beyond comprehension how dim some of them are. And I actually think, is it really going to get to that stage when it does go tits up? That's the only way they're going to take notice. And it's just like we're watching everything fall into bits in front of us, doing nothing about it, because I believe they're in denial.
And saying to businesses, "Oh, just go get help from DFE. Go get."
Nobody wants to get. What's that going to achieve?
Who the hell's got time to go through their rigmarole of procedures to try and get some money back, if they'll then let you have it back? But equally, why are we then creating an environment that businesses are then going to have to rely on handouts?
I mean, that's like communism, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it beggars belief to say, well, we're going to shaft you, but then you can come cap in hand to us and we'll give you some support.
Off.
Nobody wants government support.
No, they don't. They just want to be allowed to do their own job, not break any rules, but just be left to crack on, make money and pay money in.
Businesses do not want any involvement with government whatsoever. It's the biggest hassle. They're obstructive, they're bureaucratic, and it's bad enough even and I know why we have them, but say for example restaurants, they have the the environmental health people coming in. I get that, you've got to have that because there have been some really grotty restaurants, so you've got to have that level of oversight and regulation. We understand that, but there comes a point when the involvement with government in people's lives in the Isle of Man is far greater than anywhere else. They're involved in everything.
Yeah, and even talk about regulations. This doesn't even it's not just on restaurants and food providers or anything like that. This also falls under DHSC too, doesn't it? Through one of their, I can't remember what the bill was called. And look, you don't want someone in their back garden injecting people when they have no qualifications to do that. Obviously, those regulations should be there.
Oh, is this things like Botox and all this sort of stuff?
But if you've got someone that's got a qualification, let's take a physiotherapist, for example. They've already gone to uni, they've qualified as a physiotherapist. They're probably, they will be if they're practicing. They'll be registered with a regulating body. That's enough. Then why do they need to go and get more from government? I don't understand that. If they've already got their regulations with the regulating body in the UK, what is this all going to do for them?
Yeah, they shouldn't, because don't forget, what you then get is you get this department who then says, yes, and you've got to register with us, and of course, there's a fee.
It's all about this.
And then they go, well, there's got to be the cost of us providing this service. Well, piss off and don't provide the service then. We don't want you. We don't need you. There's professional bodies, and if I, in my work as whatever, harm you, then you can obviously sue me.
Of course.
And, your insurance or whatever. I mean, what they do is they create the bureaucracy to create jobs for themselves.
Correct.
And I'm not saying there should be a completely regulation-free society.
No, absolutely not.
But I'm saying in the Isle of Man, we've gone completely over the top with it. And we're going to run out of money.
Well,
and to be honest, the sooner they run out of money, the better.
But you listen to the Treasury Minister or any of them in there, we're fine, we're doing well. I'd love to see what accounts you're looking at, because if you look at our reliance on reserves, we're not doing very well. And you look at all of the little things they're doing as cash grabbing methods, which is all it is. But they're trying to sell this bullshit line that, no, we're not. It's not about getting money. It's about you. Yeah, no, it's about taking more money from you.
Yeah, that's called gaslighting, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's
unreal.
Just beggars belief.
Anyway, should we take a break and come back with something a bit more positive? Welcome back to Welcome to Friday with me, Charlie Murray, and Juan Turner. It doesn't slip off the tongue as well as Sam Turton. I'm so used to saying Charlie Murray and Sam Turton.
Yeah, well, get used to it. I'll have to come in and rescue this podcast a bit more often, I think.
Fucking hell. Okay, would you like to talk about free coffees or arts and crafts?
What else have you got?
No.
Go on, free coffees.
Free coffees. Okay. Lucy Mann of Deja Brew treated hospital staff over the Christmas period, and she took her coffee trailer down, Deja Brew, and served free coffees to all the hospital staff that saved her life 5 years ago.
Oh, that's really nice.
Is it not?
Now, I think I know who this person is. I don't know her. Is she the lady who goes up to the likes of Arch Allergan?
Yeah.
And yes.
A ray of sunshine in human form.
Yeah.
The nicest person you could dream to meet, and her coffee is wonderful. And she is just, really, really great girl. So I thought that was lovely that she went back to Nobles and went, give you all free coffees.
Brilliant. That's so kind. And of course, the fact that she is able to go up to like the plantations is a positive thing the government's doing.
Well done,
but I just hope that allowing her to do it, they haven't made it really bureaucratic for her.
Yeah.
But no, that's great. So it is the same person. That's a great one.
So
nice
that was a nice story. So Lucy giving back to the staff.
Excellent.
And then
What was the other thing?
this is a really lovely story. Craft Club raises over £800 for the Isle of Man Air Ambulance Service. So I actually went down to the Czech presentation.
Did you?
And I did. And I'm I love this kind of stuff. Like, I'm obsessed with the air ambulance. Like, I love hearing about anything like that. So this is actually the Isle of Man Air Ambulance Service, not to be confused with the
Great North Air Ambulance.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically a group of ladies in Ramsey raised an impressive £810 for the air ambulance service through a heartwarming community fundraising event. So the Kerra Glass Craft Group, they meet every week and they create handmade items. So they go crocheting and they make different things. They held a little fundraising event just before Christmas and sold raffle prizes and all that kind of stuff to give something back to a proper Manx service, basically. So I just thought that was absolutely lovely. And also the local businesses in Ramsey really got on board. So one of the members of the group took a stroll around town. They asked all businesses if they'd help donate prizes. They were completely overwhelmed with the response from local business. Who would have thought private sector being nice, odd. So completely very, very generous. But it's really interesting because during the check presentation, the guys and girls from the Armagh Air Ambulance Service gave a presentation to explain about everything that they do. And I actually certainly wasn't aware of just how much they do and kind of like how it all operates. So obviously they've got the fixed wing aircraft down at Ronaldsway.
Yeah.
So they showed pictures of that, explained how that all works, went through the whole, what's the list? Like, I suppose the urgency levels. What are they called?
Triage.
Yeah. Triage of like the patients going out. So spoke about all of that, the places that they fly to, and then if it's out of hours, because they have to operate within airport hours. Once the airport,
good luck with that.
Once the airport shuts, they then have to get in the Coast Guard helicopter that comes to Nobles, and they're explaining like obviously when the helicopters landed on the beach and things, that's because they've been fog bound at Nobles. But since April 2025, so we're not even a full financial year yet, are we? The air ambulance has transferred 419 patients using its aircraft.
Good grief.
It's a lot, that, isn't it? And you think, you know, the people that are doing this are nurses, are medics and things. They've had to go through extra training to be air ambulance staff. And I just, like, these are the guys that, like, you know, we should be so proud of within our health service that are doing such an amazing job, because we don't have this expert care on the island. Like, that's no one's fault. Of course we're not going to. You know, we're a small place. We can't expect to have the best heart surgeon.
Well, that was the justification they gave on building that huge hospital. People, what you've just said about we can't because we're a small place, people said when they were designing that hospital, it was far too big. We should have concentrated on immediate care and the rest of it with a view to the serious stuff transferring. But what they did here is they built the big hospital designed to do all singing, all dancing,
Then couldn't get the staff
but then can't staff it. So but you're absolutely right. These people on the front line are the public sector workers.
These are the ones that we're bloody proud of.
That are doing the work and are under-resourced.
Yes. And, you know, and I listened to them yesterday, and obviously their funding comes within the Manx Care budget, doesn't it? And I was just listening and I was like, you guys are bloody amazing. Like, what you do is incredible. The sights they'll see, the things they'll deal with. And they're amazing people. What they do is an amazing job. And then you look up the food chain and you go, yeah, there's that lot that are sat in offices doing nothing, making everything more difficult. The ones that are deciding, oh, maybe we'll actually pull out of Alder Hay and stop urgent treatment there because we're spending too much money. But where's that money going?
It's being just hemorrhaging
and, like,
out.
You know, and I think the thing is, no one thinks that healthcare is expensive. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that the price of pharmaceuticals is going up. No one's sitting here saying it's not. But the fact that we're just making it so top heavy, it's just ridiculous.
And you talk to some of these people on the front line in health, and they'll tell you what a shambles Manx Care is.
They will, yeah.
And, you know, when we go on about these things, one of the things I think is disgraceful is that people have to raise money for an air ambulance.
So what the money that they've raised, it'll go towards practitioner training, patient welfare during transfers, and the purchase of essential medical equipment. So it'll go towards sort of like nice things for the aircraft and stuff like that. But yeah,
but that is what irks me about the whole thing, because, you know, people shouldn't be having to spend their time raising money for a service like this that's critical when we're pissing money up the wall on all these other things we're doing. The likes, I mean, I know, you know, it's very easy to laugh about this, the 20 mile an hour scheme. There's 400 grand that could have gone into the pot for something that wasn't needed. And yet these people are spending all their time raising money for this service. That money You know, they shouldn't have to be doing it, and it's a good job they are.
Absolutely, and I think,
And for the Great North Air Ambulance, of course.
yeah, and I think both of those roles are so important because the Isle of Man Air Ambulance Service operates 365 days a year, where however bloody many days a year there are. It operates all of those days 24/7, so it's not restricted by it being dark. Whereas the Great North Air Ambulance Service, to the best of my knowledge, can't go in the dark.
Right.
Over the sea. There's some, I don't know, fucking aviation rule about it that they can't.
Okay.
I don't know the ins and the outs. But these, like, the pair of them work so well because, like, you know, GNAS can go straight to a roadside accident, can pick someone up, take them straight over to the trauma centre they need to go to.
Yeah.
And these guys are able to, if someone's in the hospital and they need to go now,
Transfer,
they make the call,
yeah.
they get it, and they make it happen. And these services are so important. And then we also have the nursing associate role that got scrapped. The Manx Care were meant to be putting on a course for nursing associate course, which basically it was to bridge the gap between healthcare assistants and registered nurses, so it could give career progression for healthcare assistants. Like, brilliant thing. Scrapped it. Not right for Manx Care. You know, and you think, what the hell? These things would have been really good. It's more frontline staff. It's more opportunities for employment and better opportunities for care. But instead, we're just up here.
And this is core stuff for being on an island. You know, the Isle of Man, it's an island. It's not self-sufficient, no matter what people go on about. It's not self-sufficient. We need the links to the excellent hospitals in the northwest and elsewhere if people need specialist stuff. And it just seems to me that these are the areas that are starved of cash.
Yep.
And yet we have plenty of money for all these like marketing things that you were talking about before. And all these other jobs around government, policy makers, pen pushers, paper shufflers, project managers. There's millions of pounds
like,
there.
Look, with healthcare, it's not isolated to just the Isle of Man, is it? We know that. Like, we know the NHS has been super greedy, and that's also not gone to plan in the UK. But what's it all come down to? The fact of these double levels of bureaucracy. And that's where all the money's going. And health is such an important thing. And it irks me a bit when I hear people say about, or say they're going to go for a procedure, but because they can afford to go private, they've gone private. And that's great for them. But equally, they shouldn't have to. If they've been paying into the system, they're just as... they should be able to go down Manx Care.
Well, here's an example for you. Where are we? Well, we're in 2026 now. When did the Queen die? When was that? 23?
23?
I'm losing track of it.
I think it was 2023.
When was your mate Yasmin at the World Championships? What year was that?
2022.
22.
Yeah, so she died on the 8th of September.
Well, you're probably wondering what this has got to do with it.
Yes.
When I was there, I broke a back tooth, right?
When you were where?
I was at that sporting event at the World...
Right, so you weren't at Balmoral Castle?
No,
right,
I wasn't. No,
okay,
I wasn't. I just positioned it because I remember flying back into Heathrow the day of the Queen's funeral. That's how I could remember the date.
Everyone at that World Championships from Britain wore black armbands.
And it was the first sporting event where God Save the King was sung.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, real tangent here. God. But after the celebrations, I was eating some peanuts and broke a back tooth. Okay? I flew into Heathrow, pressure, in an aeroplane. I felt like my head was going to explode. Broken tooth, toothache on an aeroplane is not what you recommend.
No, it's not. It's horrible.
Anyway, I ended up getting an emergency appointment when I got back to the Isle of Man, and they said, "I'm sorry, the dentists can't do anything about this. You're going to have to have an operation on it, and there's a waiting list."
Oh no.
We're now in January 2026, and I am still waiting.
Oh, it's not good, is it?
Okay, so this is the wonderful health service we have now. Okay, it's not giving me any problems. It's where it's gone. It's right at the very back, and it needs a proper operation to remove the tooth.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is we're now
4 years on.
4 years down the line.
Yeah.
And I'm not unique. People have told me they've been waiting for this, they've been waiting for that, they've been waiting for the other.
The thing with this is that's actually quite a minor thing.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it, but I'm just saying it's an example.
No, but where I'm going with this is you're 100% right. Because there's people that are also waiting on things that aren't so minor, that are incredibly painful. Some of them can potentially be life-threatening. But they still have a big question mark over because there's all of these big wait lists. And you're paying for this service. Why are we not getting it back?
Yeah, or I could go and pay, 6,000 quid and have it.
But when you're a taxpayer and you've been contributing to this, just because you then can afford to go private doesn't mean you should have to. You've paid in. You've already paid your way to get in there. So why should you then have to go private? That's the bit that annoys me. And on that note...
Yeah, there we are. So, what's a wrap-up of the week? What's been happening in the news this week, very quickly?
We're still going. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just very quickly.
KWC is going to offer A-levels in addition to IB.
Did they not do A-levels?
No.
Oh.
They were just IB, weren't
Oh,
they?
yes, they were. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
So that's been happening. People being told about the new electoral register system, which is part of the efficiencies programme. Southampton route starts this week. The mountains shut. The schools, or the education department, had a brilliant idea to just shut schools for half a day and then decide that actually maybe they were quite thick in their decision making.
Yeah.
I decided to shut it for the whole day. There's a weight limit in Andreas, so that's not just for me, that's for bigger vehicles.
It will be if you get any more of these celebrations.
Tell me about it, the amount of cheese I've eaten.
Get people writing in to complain about that.
A lovely farmer in the north of the island has made national news in the Farmers Weekly, 23-year-old James Allenson. So you can go to Manx.news to read all about that. Yeah, that's basically it, to be honest. A few more bits and bobs, but if you want to find out the rest, just go to Manx.news.
www.manx.news.
And on that note...
It's been a pleasure.
That's my line. You like using my line, don't you?
Is that your line?
It's my line.
Not your line.
Yeah, it is my line.
Why?
Because you used to rip me for it, because when I just wanted to go off the phone to you, I'd go, anyway, it's been a pleasure.
Well, I didn't notice because I carried on talking for another 15 minutes after you'd hung up on me.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the podcast. You can get it in all the usual places you get your podcast and at manx.news.
That's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from her.